It's Virginia This Morning.
And welcome back to the show. Capitol Opera Richmond is a new local opera company that aims to showcase local talent. Premiering next week, their opening production is Puccini's La Boheme. And one of the featured local talents is the Greater Richmond Children's Choir, who will perform for us just ahead here on the show. But first, we welcome the president of Capitol Opera Richmond, Karine Eva Marshall. Hi, Karine.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Where did the idea for a new opera company come from?
Well, Capitol Opera is actually a mother company, and we're sort of under that umbrella. And it started when I was performing for Capitol Opera Raleigh. Kathleen Torchia, who's the founder of Capitol Opera in general, it's been running for 20 years in Sacramento and a couple other places. I was singing there for her and met with Fran Ahern Coleman, who was singing there too from Richmond. And my husband had just been transferred here. And I said, well, that's funny that you're from Richmond and I'm from Richmond and we're both singing in Raleigh. And I said, you know what, we need a company there. And she said, you're right. I drive 2 hours to the coast for rehearsals and 2 hours back. Another board member, Sarah Kate Walston, frequently goes to Baltimore, and it's wonderful that they have the opportunity to do that, but we wanted to give people the opportunity right here in Richmond to have the chance to perform and be an outlet for all kinds of artists. We have a local visual artist who's doing our season flyers and posters. Eventually we'll probably have some local dancers and choreographers in shows, and singers of all types, all ages that are here. We might have some people that studied music in college but now have families and don't want to travel 2 hours, or younger talent like the Greater Richmond Children's Choir, and we just really want to be an artistic resource for the community right here in Richmond.
So truly a local company.
That's right.
For a little bit of everybody, and it seems like timing was perfect for you in this whole thing coming together.
It was just, there were a lot of coincidence, and we got a great board team together. We have James Taylor directing the show, who came on board, and Fran is also singing in the show along with Sarah. And then we held auditions. We're going to see Michael Baggett doing Parpignol. So we have some VCU people involved, and it's just been a fun process.
Well, tell us, why did you choose La Boheme for your premiere program?
Well, for a couple reasons. La Boheme is a famous opera, so opera lovers are familiar with it, but will go back and see it again and again. But for people who aren't as familiar with opera, who want to get acquainted, it's a wonderful first opera. It's beautiful music. It's so accessible to everybody, and it's a wonderful love story.
We like that. It has a kind of a little bit of everything in it. So how did you hook up with the Greater Richmond Children's Choir to become your townspeople?
Well, we wanted to work with local children. That was an idea we had. There is the big chorus scene in Act 2, which we're going to see. And Fran knew Hope, and I also, through my church, I knew a young singer who sang with them. So I had a couple people talking about the Greater Richmond Children's Choir, and I thought, well, that sounds like a perfect pairing, because they're here, and we have a lot of kids in the Act 2, and it just seemed like a good match. And we were happy to talk with Hope, and she loved the idea, and they had done a little opera singing before, and so we said, great.
And the costuming is wonderful. I said they kind of look very Dickensian, and you said it's the same time period.
It is. It's set in 1840s in Paris in the Latin Quarter, and so that, therefore, the costumes, yes.
So who's working on the costumes? Because it seems like a big cast that you have to get costumed.
We do, and we have access to WeAg's Costume Warehouse through Sarah Kate Walston, and they've been very generous to help us costume the show.
Well, we're going to hear a medley of 2 pieces from the opera. Can you kind of set it up for us?
Certainly. This is Act 2. Mimi and Rodolfo have just met and fallen in love. And Rodolfo is a poet, and Mimi's a seamstress. And they are going out to Paris on Christmas Eve night to the Café Momus, which is a famous cafe where everybody likes to go and hang out and eat. And they're going to meet up with their other friends, as well as the center of the town, where you have all the shopkeepers, the vendors. You have Parpignel, the toy vendor that of course all the children love.
Of course.
And in this scene we're going to see Musetta, who is Marcello, who is Rodolfo's best friend's on and off again girlfriend, who's quite a siren. She loves attention, and in this scene she comes into the cafe, and Marcello, at this point they're broken up, is frustrated, and so she makes a big scene with the Quando Men Vo. So the first part of the scene, we'll see the children in the town looking at the toys, the vendors. It's Christmas Eve, there's lots of hubble bubble activity, and then the mothers get the children back from Parpignol, say, come back here, you know, you can't have all those toys. And then we have Musetta come in and say, Quando Men Vo, whenever I go, everyone looks at me, I'm so gorgeous. And Marcello is seething.
Well, it sounds wonderful, and we're going to see that in just a second. Corinne Marshall, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. We want to tell people about Capitol Opera Richmond's opening production of Puccini's La Bohème. It premieres next Friday, November 16th, and again on the November 17th, Saturday, at 7:30 at the Henrico Theater at 305 East 9 Mile Road. For ticket information, just visit us online at WTVR.com/VTM. And as we promised, just ahead here on Virginia This Morning, the Greater Richmond Children's Choir with a musical selection from the opera.
Good morning, Virginia. This is Virginia This Morning.
And welcome back to our live show. Just before the break, we learned about Capitol Opera Richmond, one of the area's newest entertainment entities. Their opening production next week is Puccini's La Bohème. The Greater Richmond Children's Choir is part of the cast, and they're here with a medley of 2 songs from the show. A street scene from the Christmas market as mothers try to keep the children from spending all their money with the toy vendor, and a short aria, Musetta's Waltz, which is one of opera's most famous arias. Here is the Greater Richmond Children's Choir.
Ecco I giocattoli di Parpignol!
Musetta.
Che toiletta?
Opera Richmond's production of Puccini's La Boheme next Friday and Saturday at the Henrico Theater on East 9 Mile Road. Thank you so much for the preview and good luck with the show.